What does it mean to be famous? To be a celebrity? To be an icon amongst your peers? Fame is a term that has existed since Roman times, stemming from the Latin word fama, which is a term that indicates what is said about something or someone, and its meaning encompasses two different realms, that of rumors and gossip on one hand and renown and reputation on the other. In an interview with Columbia magazine, Sharon Marcus that the first modern celebrity was Sarah Bernhardt, saying, quote, "Bernhardt became the godmother of modern celebrity because her career coincided with several inventions that she cannily used to promote herself. Steamship and railway travel allowed her to tour the world as few actors had before." People can become famous in different ways. You can be a successful cook, skilled gamer like Faker, or even a talented performer. This has become very apparent in the age of social media, platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok becoming catalysts for the birth of icons. Look at mainstream artists like Justin Bieber, Olivia Rodrigo, and even Billie Eilish. They've either spawned from these platforms or have received a heavy boost from these social media outlets. The modern-day celebrity is a title which seems accessible to everyone from any background. One industry that has flourished on these social media platforms is, of course, the K-pop industry. Thriving off of YouTube's accessibility to everyone around the world, K-pop recognition, thus over the last decade, has exploded. Groups are now promoting for markets outside of South Korea, now setting their sights on countries such as Japan, China, and of course the United States. The current president of South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, stressed the importance of the exportation of K-culture. In an article by Korean Wonyoung Daily, they report, quote, "To this end, Yoon stressed he will encourage the diversification of exports by promoting K-food and K-content, securing global interest in Korean cuisine, brands, and cultural content through the widespread popularity of K-pop." It's clear that K-pop has become a pretty big thing worldwide. Professor Kim Se-won from Ewha Women's University says that based on official estimation, K-pop generates about $10 billion USD for the country every year. With more eyes on the industry, you have the opportunity to showcase some of its unique traits. Today, we will be discussing one of these traits, not necessarily specific to K-pop, but one that is marketed as of grave importance, especially amongst the greater K-pop community online: the manufactured, materialistic culture surrounding the K-pop it girl. Today's sponsor is ErgoTune. ErgoTune is Australia and Singapore's top-selling performance ergonomic office chair. They've also recently launched in the US and already have praises from TechRadar and Tom's Guide. I've been using mine now for about a month and a half or so, using it for editing videos, recording. You've probably seen it on my Patreon, and for most importantly, sitting comfortably. With ErgoTune, you're getting 11 different adjustment points that range from seat depth to backrest height and lumbar support. It features a 5D armrest that can swivel 270 degrees outward for any arm angle. For me personally, I've been really enjoying the headrest and the lumbar support. I have really bad posture to begin with, so this chair has really been helping me and my back with long editing sessions that extend upwards like 6 to 7 hours. As you can see, it also features this mesh design, which is very sturdy yet also very breathable. I don't sweat or get hot while using this chair, which is big for long gaming or editing sessions. I got my chair in less than a week. It was incredibly easy to set up. It only took me around 15 to 20 minutes, and all the instructions and stuff they give you is super simple to put together. ErgoTune boasts free shipping and a 12-year warranty. That's over half my lifespan. And as I'm recording this, they're having a back-to-school mega sale where you can get 70% off the ErgoTune Supreme. If you're in the market for a new ergonomical office chair, I would take advantage of that. ErgoTune is a third of the price of these more expensive legacy brands. So if you really are in the market for a new ergonomical chair, one that is built to last, I highly recommend ErgoTune. I've been, again, using this chair for like 2 months now, and it has been nothing but positive experiences. I will show a link on screen, put one in the description, and leave one in the pinned comment for you all to see if you're interested in checking out an ErgoTune off this chair. I promise you, I don't take sponsorship opportunities from brands that I don't trust or that I don't use, and ErgoTune has been nothing but really great experiences, and this chair is amazing. So thank you to ErgoTune for sponsoring this video, and we will get right back to the content. According to Oxford Languages, an it girl is a young woman who has achieved celebrity because of her socialite lifestyle. Dictionary.com cites an it girl as being a young woman with sex appeal and a magnetic personality, and according to Cambridge University, an it girl is a famous young woman who is known for going to a lot of parties and social events. Now, why give you varying definitions of what an it girl is? Well, first and foremost, it's important to establish that while the concept of an it girl has been a thing in media for decades now, it appears more as a cryptid. It's hard to track down what an it girl actually is. I only gave you 3 vague definitions here, but there are countless more that I can show you. There is no concise meaning of what an it girl is. There may be common traits amongst these definitions, but the it girl is about as clearly defined as Bigfoot is real. There are plenty of famous women we can point to in Western media and clearly define them as it girls. Beyonce, Rihanna, Janet Jackson, Marilyn Monroe, Julia Roberts, Britney Spears, etc. Hollywood seems to be the common denominator here. What being an it girl seems to boil down to is being attractive, successful, potentially rich, and influential to the younger generation. They stand out from the rest by being different. It's hard to pin down what being different means. It's like a weird magnetism that draws you to a specific person. The first person you fell in love with may have this it factor to them. The ones that stand out amongst a crowd draws the camera to them. It girls in the United States tend to be actors, artists, or models. However, with the rise of social media, as mentioned earlier, we've seen more of these it girls arise from applications such as YouTube and TikTok. I also want to approach the somewhat subjective nature of the term. While some believe that being an it girl is an objective quality, the foundations of being an it girl are purely subjective. Having a, quote, magnetic personality or being attractive are purely subjective traits. Now, don't get me wrong, we can all come to a consensus on a few modern-day it girls. Take Beyonce, for example. I think we can all agree that not only is she incredibly talented, attractive, and influential, but she really has that it factor going on for her. Yet, there is someone out there who is bound to disagree, and I can't really stop them from doing that. This is why, to this day, we still discuss who the real it girls in K-pop are, because it tends to vary from person to person with a few common denominators in between. I'm not necessarily saying that it girls are as subjective in nature as, for example, musical taste. And especially in the K-pop community, it seems that every fan has different criteria as to what it is to be an it girl. Some people argue that achievements mean more, while being attractive means more. What it means to be an it girl and who the it girls of modern day media are has been an open question now for decades, and I don't think we're going to come to a concise resolution of that question. An industry that is obsessed with visuals, popularity, and monetary status, it makes perfect sense that the it girl would be a top priority in the K-pop industry. Let me ask you, what is the purpose of the center position in a K-pop group? Is it to tie the team together? Well, that's what the leader is supposed to do. Are they supposed to be the best singer or dancer? Not that either. The center position in K-pop tends to directly correlate to what an it girl represents. Centers tend to also be the main visuals, the pretty amongst the pretty. They tend to pull in brand sponsorships and act as a flagship for the group, an identifiable idol. When you think about a group like IVE, who's the first person that comes to mind? It's Wonyoung. Centers in K-pop groups tend to be like protagonists in shonen anime, the Gokus to the rest of the Z fighters. In South Korea, beauty standards also include what's called the golden body ratio, where one has a 1:8 head-to-body ratio. This is on top of having a V-shaped face, fair skin, symmetrical eyebrows, a slim body, and double eyelids. Some idols that fit this criteria are Wonyoung from IVE, Yuna from ITZY, Lisa from Blackpink, and Yoon from STAYC. The it girls of K-pop tend to fit K-pop's beauty standards and typical ideal body ratios. The idols I showed earlier in the intro, that being Yuna and Yeji from ITZY, Wonyoung from IVE, Xiaoting from Kepler, and Karina from aespa all kind of fit these Korean beauty standards. So the materialistic industry focuses on propping up idols who fit the beauty standards. That's nothing shocking. It makes sense on paper. But what really shocked me when I first got invested in the industry was how overt the practice of highlighting the it girl of the group actually was. Whether it be companies securing exclusive brand deals for that specific member, giving them nicer stage outfits, or pushing their individual content more, companies' aggressive push to promote one specific member left me somewhat stifled. The few idols I shared in my intro are just idols that are respective it girls of this 4th generation of K-pop. There are plenty of it girls that existed in the 3rd generation and even 2nd generation. I'm sure people can come to their own conclusions as to why these specific women are considered it girls in the industry. Wonyoung is virtually everywhere in South Korea, Yeji is an incredible on-stage performer, Karina is constantly compared to video game characters because of her unreal beauty, and Yuna ticks all the boxes we listed earlier. There's also Xiao Ting, which some people may disagree with me on, but I think Xiao Ting ticks all the boxes to be an it girl. She's a great performer on stage. She doesn't fit all, but does fit a good amount of the Korean beauty standards. There are 2 reasons as to why I don't think she's talked about more as being an it girl. One, she's in Kepler, and Kepler is not a highly favored group amongst people in the K-pop community. Second, she's Chinese, and that shows these xenophobic tendencies in picking out it girls in K-pop. There are a few outliers to this, but most it girls in the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd generation tend to be Korean. And xenophobia in the K-pop industry is an open secret, especially against Chinese and Japanese idols. Is there a certain it girl here that could be considered more it than the other? Sure, but I see a lot of people in the community weaponize the term to put other idols down. I commonly see the term used to discredit the talent or ability of other female idols. Whenever a fan is trying to praise their favorite female performer, you'll always have a snarky anti jump in and say, well, she's not really an it girl, so why does it matter? In the K-pop community online, it girls are propped up onto some untouchable platform. They are incomparable to other idols. They are simply perfect. And while this comes with extensive positives and negatives, some which we'll get into in a little bit, I think it does play into the themes of the industry. The K-pop industry is forward-facing. It cares entirely about looks. Thus, its female idols must be the perfect weight, perform perfectly, fit the beauty standards, and have the perfect personality. K-pop cares so much about it girls because they embody the message of K-pop, being perfect. At first, I had an entire section dedicated to the positives of being an it girl. A large following, dedicated supporters, potential brand deals, etc. But those positives pale in comparison to the overwhelming negatives of being an it girl in modern K-pop. While the 1st, 2nd, and even 3rd generations of K-pop had more physical incidents when it comes to fan wars, the 4th generation of K-pop has been spurred on by cyberbullying and online fan wars. This has only grown after the expansion of K-pop not only into countries such as China and Japan, but also the West, hitting a gold mine in fandom culture. I genuinely believe that the distance between fan and idol only exponentiates the parasocial relationship that fan forms with the idol. Now with this section, I don't want to seem like I'm psychoanalyzing everyone that despises it girls. I just want to point out a few common reasons as to why I see a lot of people direct their hatred towards it girls. Now beauty is 100% subjective. You don't have to find someone attractive that me or someone else finds attractive. However, I think a good amount of people can agree that it girls like Wonyoung or Karina are very pretty. Now, K-pop is obsessed with plastic surgery and makeup, so a lot of people use those things to attack these idols. You'll commonly see antis say that these it girls won't look pretty if they have their plastic surgery removed or they don't have makeup on, which I find weird because, first of all, it is not my place to speak on an idol's decision to get plastic surgery. It is a common practice in South Korea, especially in the idol industry. It's not my body, it's not my choice. So why people have this inclination that they are morally superior to others that don't get plastic surgery or don't use makeup is beyond me. Most it girls out there also tend to be pretty good all-arounders. There are a few it girls that are more talented vocally or through dance than other it girls out there. For example, I would say like a Karina from aespa is more talented than like a Wonyoung from IVE, and that's not me hating on Wonyoung. I love both of them as idols, but some people online will take that lack of talent and again weaponize it against them. A lot of hate that goes towards Wonyoung's way is that she's not a vocalist, especially after the lip-syncing incident with the whole Strawberry Moon cover. I've also seen some people throw around the notion that a lot of these it girls who have a lot of brand deals and sponsorships are more in it for the money rather than being a genuine idol and caring about music. I saw a lot of people specifically say this about Wonyoung, which is funny because on their recent album, she has writing credits for one of the songs, like she wrote the entire song. And I also don't think that most idols getting into the industry are purely doing it for monetary standards, because the idol industry doesn't really pay their idols much, unless you're like BTS, Twice, or Blackpink. A lot of people also like to say that it girls have attitude issues and like to make up false narratives about them. And while companies will push agendas for who the visual member is and who the it girl is of the group, I don't think a lot of the time that this decision is made by that specific member. I seriously doubt coming into the industry, Yeji was thinking of being portrayed as an it girl. There's also this weird over-sexualization with it girls online. It girls tend to be attractive and fit a lot of the body proportions that are objectively better in Korean beauty standards. Thus, a lot of these it girls are targets for over-sexualization online. I remember the scandal that broke out when a South Korean presidential candidate made very inappropriate comments about both DJ Soda and Karina, and there are some TikTok hashtags I have seen in association with Karina, primarily on this recent comeback, that have been really gross. For some reason, online people are obsessed on whether wears hip pads or not, as if it matters. And even when Wonyoung was underage in IZ*ONE, she was still the victim of some very creepy comments. Over-sexualization and fetishization happens to a lot of female Korean idols, but it happens primarily to it girls because they're the ones that are always thrusted in the spotlight, whether it be because of the community or because of their respective companies. So why do people hate it girls or send negativity their way? Well, one, K-pop and its online community is incredibly negative to everything, and from person to person, it can be different. Again, I don't want to feel like I'm psychoanalyzing anyone, but I think a good amount of it comes from jealousy. People are just jealous that a lot of these women tend to be attractive to a lot of people and are very successful, and because they aren't like them, decide to take out their anger online against them. This might sound super corny, but you don't have to be like a Karina or a Wonyoung or a Yuna to be attractive or successful in whatever you do. Remember that beauty is always in the eye of the beholder, and there are plenty of female idols out there that people call attractive that I personally don't think are attractive, and that's just my opinion. It's also a common trend amongst the K-pop community that there always needs to be an idol with a target on their back. Sometimes people just want to hate on someone, to literally just be a hater, to tear others down for self-validation. And that's an unfortunate trend that is incredibly common in the K-pop community. It is everywhere you look. Yes, being an it girl will reap you rewards. You will get brand deals. You will get shown off to the greater community by your company. Thus, you will have a greater following. There will be more dedicated and supportive fans that are always going to be by your side. But unfortunately, those positives do not outweigh the negatives that also come along with being an it girl. Constantly being bashed for the littlest of things, being overly sexualized, being ridiculed online for the way you look or the way you act. To a lot of K-pop fans, if you're an it girl, you're public enemy number one, and people will do everything in their might to tear you down. Now, before I make my observations here, I want to say that I am more entrenched in the girl group side of the K-pop community than the boy group side. This may well skew my view on the subject, but I wanted to call out my bias before someone else in the comments does. Online, I commonly see the it girl being brought up more than the it boy. Can you off the top of your head sit down and make a comprehensive list of 5 to 6 boys within the industry in the 4th generation that fit the quote-unquote it qualifications? All I see online is everyone's common consensus that tends to be that Yeonjun from TXT is the de facto it boy of the 4th generation, and there's no other argument to be had. However, besides that, I almost never see people talk about it boys much at all. We can point out the very obvious way the industry and community treats female idols in comparison to male idols. Male idols tend to be let off the hook during scandals and are constantly praised online for things female idols are demeaned for. Male idols tend to get treated better by both the industry but also the greater community as a whole, not necessarily saying that they don't receive backlash, because they do all the time. Is this why the it girl exists in K-pop in the first place? Is the it girl really just an excuse to overly analyze and materialize women within the industry, holding them to unbelievable standards, ones that male idols aren't held to? My question to the people who constantly badgered the it girls of the industry is, where's the same energy for the male idols? Not that I at all condone harassment or hatred towards male idols in the industry, but it rubs me the wrong way that the women are always the ones scrutinized for the tiniest of things. The 4th generation has become the home of constant girl group competition, so maybe this could be why it girls seem to be more prevalent than it boys, but to me this still doesn't add up. We have boy groups such as ATEEZ, TXT, Stray Kids, NCT, ENHYPEN, etc. Sure, you'll see some competition amongst the members. I remember vividly the fan wars between MOA and ATEEZ online during their respective rookie campaigns and which group should win Rookie of the Year, but it's never anything close to the rabid competition in the it girl sphere. Instead of asking why are it girls discussed more than it boys, we should be asking why are it girls despised more than it boys. Is it some underlying misogynistic mindset within the K-pop community amongst select individuals? Maybe or maybe not. I could be overanalyzing the entire thing, and I, again, tend to gravitate towards the girl group community, so I could really just be biased here, but it's an observation that I wanted to at least mention. There was Jennie, and now there's Wonyoung. Every generation has that respective it girl of all it girls. When Jennie debuted with Blackpink under YG, she was, and has continued to be, the victim of mass harassment by the K-pop community. Every little minute detail was picked apart by antis. Quote, she's not dancing hard enough at practice. She's the spoiled princess of YG. Her attitude is off-putting. Jennie was unfortunately a victim of Blackpink's concept, YG pushing her as being this badass. She was ridiculed online for something she may not even have control over. The newest victim of this cycle is the center of IVE, Wonyoung. Now, I don't want to make it sound like Wonyoung is the only one who receives backlash here, because she definitely isn't. Every it girl and even it boys that I've mentioned in this video receive varying levels of backlash. However, Wonyoung's has reached a new level, a Jennie level. The most hypocritical backlash she received was when she lip-synced a performance of Strawberry Moon with her bandmate Lizzo. Online, the performance was ripped to shreds and used as a martyr for the horrible state live vocals are at in K-pop. I even talked about it in a previous video. However, I felt as if this backlash was very hypocritical by the larger K-pop community. Yes, they lip-synced, and to some people that's a cardinal sin of the entertainment industry, but K-pop is literally full of lip-syncing. It always has been. Your favorite group got on stage and lip-synced nearly an entire song, but they get a pass because of the cool choreo. I don't believe that it's very fair to ridicule one person for something everyone does. If anything, the hate that was directed towards Wonyoung and Lizzo because of this lip-syncing scandal came off as very tone-deaf and belligerent. People were finding any way they could to hate on Wonyoung and Lizzo while protecting their favorites behind a shield. A few of the brands Wonyoung has partnered with are, and excuse my mispronunciation of some of these, Miu Miu, Xiaomei, Innisfree, Kirsch, SK Telecom, Bulgari, Hapa Kristin, Gosferis, and Samsung. I've seen some label her as more of a model or ambassador rather than a K-pop idol. I've always been confused by this sentiment. First, as I mentioned earlier, she clearly has interest in music production and lyricism as shown on their recent album, but also because most idols are ambassadors for different brands, because idols serve as essentially walking talking billboards for these brands. Wonyoung is not the only idol endorsed by these lavish brands. So it never made sense as to why the public wanted to ridicule Wonyoung for having sponsorships when they have always existed in K-pop and exist for other idols. Then there is her apparent attitude issue that people have manufactured online. Wonyoung does not and has never displayed an attitude issue, at least to my knowledge. The videos you find online of her quote-unquote not bowing are poor explanations of the situation and really just serve as bait to lure in fans to become haters. Wonyoung, to me at least, seems like a genuinely nice person, one that is unfortunately subject to the brightest of spotlights at all times. I sincerely hope that the negative attention constantly surrounding her does not impact her in a potentially harmful way. And if I'm being honest, I actually grew more interested in her after seeing the amount of hate she got online. The more hate she received, the more I liked her. Which I know sounds really weird, but let me quickly explain myself. I'm a very empathetic person, and I think I became a fan of hers and started to like her more purely out of pity, if anything else. I felt bad seeing so many people take illogical stances against her that I wanted to be someone who could support her. And I definitely don't think I'm the only one who has this mindset and took this stance in support of her. It's almost as if the more people hated her, the more I ended up liking her as some sort of weird spite towards the haters. These are just some things I wanted to cover in regards to Wonyoung. I can't make an It Girl video in today's K-pop landscape without at least mentioning her, because right now she is kind of the it of all it girls. So this conclusion section is going to be non-scripted. I always like to throw like one non-scripted portion in my videos because it makes me sound like more natural and fluid instead of like robotic like the rest of my other scripted sections. I think it girls in K-pop reflect the real values of the industry, because what really makes an it girl, and again this is looping back to the beginning of the video where I attempted to explain like what an it girl is, because online from different fans I see plenty of different takes, like, oh, it relies more on talent. You know, these it girls are all arounders, they can do everything, but I could say that for plenty of different female idols that aren't it girls. If it's not about talent, is it about beauty? Most it girls tend to fit the Korean beauty standards, but there's plenty of non-it girls that also fit the Korean beauty standards to a T. Really what an it girl is just a female K-pop idol that is talked about a lot online. Like, that's all. Like, think about it, the most popular it girls right now in the fourth generation are the ones that are just talked about the most online. If you talked about any other female idol as much as Karina or Wonyoung, I'm sure they would also be considered it girls. Being an it girl is a popularity contest. I mean, didn't Jiedel just make a song talking about Cuencas? But there lies my personal issue I have with it girls, that being the title is kind of objectifying. Don't get me wrong, the idol industry is incredibly objectifying to its women and male idols respectively, but the it girl title is just that, it's a title. Why are we going around calling a bunch of women its? Like, I don't know, it just feels weird to me. It's the same reason why I don't like the visual position in K-pop. Like, I understand why they exist, right? They exist to bring in money, sponsorships, brand recognition, etc. But the visual position is very objectifying in nature. You know, out of this 9-member girl group, you're the prettiest one. All the other ones, you know, they're pretty, but they're not as pretty as you. Korean beauty standards directly oppose subjectivity, which I personally have an issue with because I don't think beauty is objective in any way. When you strip down the K-pop industry and it girls to its thematic fundamentals, it's purely materialistic, right? It girls are the diamond rings in the store, and everyone else is those like cheaper $30 silver rings. It's first dehumanizing to the it girl because you're essentially stripping away any sort of personality they have and just viewing them as an object. And two, it devalues the talents that not only that it girl has, but also the rest of the members in their group or just in K-pop in general. I remember when I saw it being revealed that Wonyoung was going to be a lyricist on this album they made, and I saw so many people surprised by that, and, you know, happy, and I was too. But that overwhelming shock by a lot of people was kind of off-putting to me because it made me realize that like people did not view her as an artist or even really as an idol. They just viewed her as a model that just so happened to be on stage. Now, I don't want to make the term it girl come off as like a very evil, term. Some people joke around with it and label their favorites as it girls and stuff, and I don't really think there's any harm in that, but you do have to understand that the roots of the word and the foundation of what it stands for is incredibly problematic. It girl as a term is essentially just pitting women against each other for no reason other than the gain of fans. Yeah, Wonyoung is the it girl of the fourth generation, but like, why does that matter, and why should I care? What makes Wonyoung more of an it girl over Chaeyoung from ITZY, other than the fact that she's talked about more and she has more brand deals? The phenomenon in K-pop that is the it girl scene is spurred on by fans. It is really just a popularity contest between female idols of larger groups. There will be it girls in the 5th, 6th, and 7th generation of K-pop down the line. The trend of labeling women in K-pop as things, its, dehumanizing them, objectifying them, and devaluing their actual talents is something that will never stop in the industry because the industry is built off of objectification. It girls and K-pop are the phenomena that will never cease to exist. As you can see, I'm currently stuck in this TV, and the only way I can get out of here is if you like and subscribe. I want to give a special shout out to my patrons, the ones who monetarily support this channel. If you want to monetarily support the channel, head to the link in my description. I have some exclusive reactions of some recent K-pop comebacks on there, and I've also been thinking of recently potentially posting my gaming content on there as well as a nice little side thing on there as well. You also get your name at the end of these videos, so I'll leave that in the description below if you want to check that out. I don't typically do conclusions for these video essays like this. My last video, I didn't really do one because like it was a letter video, and this one feels like my real first researched essay back because I actually did put like effort and research into this one. Last one was kind of just like a rant video with like some research on the side. I have some upcoming essay videos planned. We have an age K-pop video coming out in early August, a Ditto New Jeans video coming out mid-August, and August D video coming out late August. So even over my break that I'm going into for my semester, going into my fall semester, I'm still going to be working and also going to Lollapalooza and all this different stuff. So I'm going to be a busy bee over the next month or so. Also, as of me uploading this, it's been like a week or so, but we also hit 20K, so thank you so much for that. And I cannot wait to get to work on some of these next videos upcoming. I really like getting better at editing videos. Hopefully this video is better edited than most of my normal stuff. Hopefully you guys got that impression. I put some more effort into this one compared to some of my past videos. But thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Share your thoughts about it girls down below. I'd love to hear them, and I will see you guys in my next essay. And hopefully I can find some way to get out of here, because I got to make that video. Like, how am I going to get out of here?